Thinking about a rail or track fall protection system? Well, you've got ceiling mounted systems, wall mounted systems, freestanding or mobile. You've got monorails or traveling bridge systems, jibs or A-frames. Do you need a system that swings or folds away? How can you determine which system is right for you? Today, we are looking at the many different Rigid Lifeline track systems so you can better understand which system is right for your needs and your facility. My name is Ben, this is the Lifting and Rigging channel, and we are here at Rigid Lifelines in Pennsylvania. Tim Bambrick is joining us today to help us determine which Lifeline system is going to be best for your facility. So Tim, first, what is the fundamental difference between a rigid track system and then a traditional cable type Lifeline system?
Big difference between cable and track is the clear fault distance. If I have a worker, maybe only working at a 5-foot height, and I have to really make sure my clear fault distance is calculated correctly, I'm most likely going to go to a track system than a cable system.
So why is that?
The deflection. So obviously you're using a rigid beam across for your Lifeline compared to a cable. So when a fall would occur, cable would bend where a beam would be a little bit more solid. So there'd be no sagging during a fall event with a track.
So when would you say that a cable is not an option, you really need to go with a track system?
For anything with a very short clear fall distance, flatbed truck's a great example of that, airplane wings, things like that, where if a longer span with a cable, depending where your anchor points are, it's going to create way more deflection and then person will hit the ground.
Are there any situations where a cable system actually is going to be more useful than a track system or safer than a track system?
Absolutely. So if you go to like an arena, you'll notice that they'll have like cable systems, they'll span like 100 feet, 200 feet. So in a situation like that, where you only have 2 anchor points, you're not going to be able to have trusses typically that large.
So Tim, in the intro of this video, I walked through a whole bunch of different types of systems that Rigid Lifelines offers. One of the options is permanent or mobile. So what are some of the factors that you need to take into account to help determine if a permanent system is right for you or if a mobile system is right for you?
Right. The first thing I would look at is workflow. Second is, do I own the building? Am I leasing the building? And your connection point will determine which way you're going to go with that. Another thing is this something that's going to be outside? Is it going to be something you're going to have to move around a lot, depending where that application is going to be? And then last, I'd say budget. I mean, that's a big part of it too. Do I want to make this huge capital investment for something I may not know if I'm going to be here for a couple of years here or not?
So if a facility is leased, does that mean they automatically, you are pushed towards a mobile system?
Not necessarily. Our product is unique where, let's say you did have the building certified, let's say the beams will pass. Our product will clip on, and other products will actually clip onto your beam. So let's say you move to a new plant or something else happens, you can take the product with you and take it to a new location.
Are there any times where a customer thinks that they need a permanent system, but maybe a mobile system might actually be better or more cost effective?
Yes, it happens a lot. One of the products that we have, or 2 of them, one being mobile, one being fixed. The one requires foundations. So the foundations, a lot of money, a lot of time, and you can do a mobile system and that cover that same exact area, which won't require as much capital investment. And that product's called the Griffin, where you can just pour a small little concrete pad, put that on, span 60 feet, instead of actually doing multiple foundations to cover that same amount of distance. So that'd be where you would see like a mobile versus permanent comparison.
So when you're looking at a permanent system, how do you know if it should be ceiling, wall, or freestanding?
I typically look up first. I usually figure out what I can attach to the building above me, because typically that's where the worker's gonna be working on top of the roof, right? So having a system that actually will attach to the roof will give you more versatility. If you have too many overhead cranes, ductwork, things like that, then you start looking at the wall or looking at columns. Then the last I would look at is the floor. And almost the price point changes too. To go from the ceiling to a wall to the floor, from doing the floor up costs the most money.
And if you're going to have a freestanding system, do you have foundational requirements?
Depending on the product, it can, absolutely. Typically for a fall protection system, you're going to need at least a couple feet. Some systems will allow 6-inch reinforced concrete, but again, depends on the system and what loads are going to apply to that floor. So that's where I'd probably get a third-party engineer, or if you have an engineer on staff, to review that. Wall mount systems have a couple different applications that make them very unique. One being, let's say you had an overhead crane and you have wall columns next to you. So when you have, let's say, a truck backing up, overhead crane, fold-away system, which will attach to the wall, would fold away out to the actual bay, have a monorail attached to it, so the worker can then get up on the truck, use the crane, and be protected. Another application for a wall mount would be, let's say, a fire station, and they have a fire truck in that same spot every single time. You need only traverse a certain radius. A simple swing arm or jib would be a perfect solution for that.
So that's a situation where your application, rather than the building, is going to determine.
Absolutely.
So with so many mobile fall protection system types that you offer, how can you determine which system is right for your application?
One tool that I use, because I get stuck on this question a lot, is I'll go to our website and take a look, and it'll actually bring you through a whole different set of files. Like, hey, am I attaching to a wall? Do I need to go in an actual straight path? Am I traveling more of a curve? Things like that will actually tell you what type of mobile system you would have. So let's say you're working on a stationary piece of equipment, the only way you can access it if you roll it over top. I would use a rolling A-frame for something like that. Where, let's say if I had an application where I'm in a large area outside where I'm working on equipment out, in the middle of a parking lot, I would probably want something like a portable swing arm, use a forklift, take it out to that location and use it for something like that. Because I don't have a building attached to, I have nothing around me. So that's where I would use between, like I say, swing arm versus a rolling A-frame.
And what about like a T system?
T system, great product for, let's say, you're leaving it in a stationary spot for a long time, and let's say you're moving it, in a week or two. It's not something I would use like every day for my operation, but it's very useful for, let's say you're working on an airplane and you're, checking the fuselage on an airplane for a whole week, and then you have to take it to another spot on the airport. That's where real use of that product comes in handy.
So let's say you got multi-users. What are the multi-user options that are available?
Right, so with Rigid Lifelines, we have a couple different options. We have a single track we're gonna put multiple users on, so you'd have them pretty much not be able to pass each other. So if you had like a 20-foot span, you could put 4 people in there. You may have to separate them with dead zones. Another way, you could do dual track, meaning that you'll have 2 separate tracks, so you can have 2 workers pass each other. And we can even do up to 4 users with even a quad track where 4 people can walk past each other. So pretty much all of our product can be designed for how many users that you want. If you're working on an airplane, sometimes you might have 16 people working on that plane at one time. So if we did a 100-foot long monorail, we could do situations where we have 5 people here, 6 people here. We can do that.
Let's say you think that you only need a single user, and then you decide, actually this would be better multi-user. Can you upgrade that product to a multi-user?
Most cases you can. What we would ask is the serial number, how many users, and understand what the application is, and we may be able to go back, do some calculations, and figure out how to add an additional worker to that existing system.
So do the different systems require different maintenance plans?
Slightly, depending on the complexity of the system, it's going to have more maintenance required with it. An easy way, I always tell people, the first thing you want to do, read your user instruction and maintenance manual first.
And what are some of the basic maintenance that you need to keep in mind?
Does the trolley roll, right? Mm-hmm. Important.
Are
the in-stops installed? Yes. Are the splices adjusted correctly? Because you don't want that trolley to be hung up in a splice joint. You want to be that trolley to make smooth operation. Make sure that everything is tight, there's no cracks. You just want to make sure the system's, like, you're almost going to fall on it. You want to make sure it's going to pass that.
Make sure it's connected to
Yeah, exactly. That's
important.
Pretty important.
Yeah. So now that we just gave everyone all this information, if they're ready to pursue a Rigid Lifeline system, what are the next steps? What do they have to do?
I would contact Rigid Lifelines, and they will put you in contact with one of our dealers, who Mazzella is one of our great dealers that can help you assist with purchasing a Rigid Lifeline product.
Last minute tip for anyone who's considering purchasing a fall protection system.
If you think you need it, you need it.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully this video helped you understand what different options are out there when looking at Rigid Lifeline systems, and how to determine which system may be a good fit for you. If you're ready to explore ways to protect your workers at height, Mazzella's fall protection team is here to help. We can do a fall protection assessment at your facility and help you sort through your options. Contact us through the link below. If you found this video useful, informative, entertaining, or you just feel like being friendly, hit that like button so we can get this information out to everyone who needs it. Remember, safe rigging is smart rigging. My name is Ben. Stay safe out there.